Hey Hodies, welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to reflect on some of my old short form content, but not in like a cringy like reactionary way. I used to do these, well, I still am in the process of revamping them and posting them again, doing a single spotlight series on my channel. So like taking single eyeshadows. I'm focusing on indie eyeshadows first, but I also have single shadows that I've depotted that might not even have names that I'm also probably going to throw into the mix at some point. The point of this content was to highlight the beauty of an individual single eyeshadow. And in this palette right here, I have most of the shadows I've done single spotlights on, and the reality of it all is that I'm not going to end up keeping all of these. I have so much eyeshadow. These eyeshadow singles are so beautiful. If I'm not gonna love them fully, if I'm not gonna deeply appreciate them, or if I don't even just like them, I'm going to get rid of them. So instead of showing you each one by one, I'm actually going to like play some of the content or show you some imagery that I've used, because I've also taken stills of all, like taken just like photos of each one of these. So I'm going to show you something whenever I do this so that you can see the eyeshadow in action, and then I'll make a decision. I'm going to be using my phone to like watch the footage. If you're not following me on Instagram, maybe you should. And if you don't want to follow me on Instagram, that's okay too. Whatever you want to do, whatever's best for you. So the first one I ever did was Sandblast from Clionadh. So this shade is like more of an orange. And I would say, like, looking at it just off the bat, that's like not an eyeshadow color that I'm going to be like reaching for a lot. I do think it's really, really pretty, and it's like a nice, beautiful, warm toned thing. I do think if I'm gonna do like a red orange shimmer on the eye, which like I guess I kind of have on my eyes today, but I like this one a little bit more than that one. This one is Forge from Clionadh. I just don't think that's the like orange that I'm going to reach for, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think it's okay to take Sandblast and have it go to someone else. Someone else is gonna love it a little bit more, because while I think it looks good on me and I think it's a really pretty color, I don't think that I need it. So that's just about what we're gonna be doing today. So just to check in, if you happen to be new to my channel and you've watched this far, hi, thank you so much for watching and clicking on my video. I really like to focus on my makeup, first and foremost, what I already own. Now, I am at a point in my YouTube journey, in my influencer career, where I do sometimes get PR, and I also do buy some stuff for purely review. But right now, I have recently been in this feeling where I'm like really, feeling back to like curating my collection, but I don't want to just like decide to declutter things willy-nilly. So the whole purpose of going through and like looking at things that I've already used and highlighted on my Instagram is a good way for me to sort out like what I want to stay and what I want to go. And that doesn't mean that any of the makeup that I'm passing on isn't beautiful for somebody, but it just probably isn't beautiful for me. Now, my makeup collection is still going to be incredibly large even after doing this, but I am taking small steps to making sure that I really like my makeup collection. That's the kind of content that I like try to focus on. Even when I do my reviews, I try to be very serious about like what I would either buy again, or if I received it in PR, what I would put my money up for, versus like just telling you how good it is. I think there is more value in knowing what someone would 100% buy again versus what someone got in PR and thinks is good, because you can give something a good review even if it's not something that you would buy. Does that make sense? And so like I try to really hone in on that. So that's what I do here. I also have a Patreon if you are into that kind of thing. I do extra content there. I'm like kind of restructuring right now, but what always will remain the same is no matter what tier you're at, whatever the content is over there, you're going to get all of it. And that's also where my podcast with my friend Kackie of Kackie Reviews Beauty lives. So if you like podcasts and things like that, you can go check that out. It starts at $1, so you can do that. But again, there's no pressure to. I also have merch. It's all down below. And liking this video could go a long way, and subscribing and all of those, commenting. If I get rid of any eyeshadows that you think are really pretty, then I'm sorry, I guess. So next up is abrasion. And I actually remember abrasion being one of my favorite ones that I've done so far. And this one, for whatever reason, on my Instagram, this short that I did for it has 1,458 likes. And this is one of the glitter multi-chromes from Clionadh, and it's just from like blue. It's one of those like red blue kind of shifty ones, and I really like this one a lot. But it also reminds me of one I have from Terra Moons, and I actually think I liked the Terra Moons one better, if I'm being quite honest, which is also gonna be in this video at some point, because I think that the Terra Moons one has more varying chunks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put abrasion to the side. We're gonna circle back to it, but this is definitely like a color I would wear. It's not a color I would wear very often. If you happen to be new to me, I typically like to wear green eyeshadow, and then I will complain about pink, but I will also wear pink. A lot of browns, neutrals. I really am more interested, like those are the colors I like, but I think that texture is more interesting than the actual color to me. So like while I do love multi-chromes, I do love shifty things, I love a glittery eyeshadow if it has different varying sizes of like mica or glitter particles or whatever they're using to make those shiny bits. That's what I find more intriguing versus like the color itself. But it has to like, I have to like the color too in order to keep it. But like I like texture. So something that I find is that the stained glass collection from Clionadh doesn't, sometimes it will have texture in it and I like that, but sometimes it'll be incredibly smooth and I actually don't really care for that. While there'll be really beautiful, wonderful shifts that you can see throughout it, it's like not my favorite. You know, I would rather have, I don't know, I would rather forego that for texture. Like, I'd rather forego the interesting shade for texture. So next up was Sunbeam. And it's like this ballet pink slipper with blue shift. And it's another glitter multi-chrome from them. From Clionadh. I really like that shift. I think it is really pretty. I don't know. I want to see the whole look zoomed out. I'm currently in the short that I'm watching. I'm just like currently applying it. I feel like it picks up more blue than it picks up like the pink whenever it's on my eye. But it is like nice and sheer, which I do like. Well, of course I love a pigmented eyeshadow. That's something I really appreciate about like a sheer look. But it almost kind of looks like the less exciting version of abrasion, because I feel like abrasion starts blue and moves into the pink, whereas this shade starts at pink and shifts blue. And this is something, this is like a critique. This is not a critique. This is something that I think everyone should take into consideration, especially if you haven't really taken a dive into single eyeshadows, single indie eyeshadows. If it has all the same colors in it, it kind of reads the same on the eye. So like maybe it's something that has like a pink base and shifts blue, and then vice versa, a blue base that shifts pink. It all kind of will look the same. So it's just like, you don't need both. You can figure out whichever one you like the look of more is just the one you should buy. I don't think you need both, because something that I did, I bought so many of the multi-chromes from Clionadh, and now that I have them, there are certainly nuances in them, but like sometimes I don't think there's enough nuance in them to warrant me having all of them. I don't know if I quite feel that way about the brand making them. Like, I don't know that they're making the mistake by making different nuances, because they certainly can see them because they're the people formulating them. And I know there are some people who are like really into eyeshadow who like want to get into the nitty gritty of it all, and like that's their bread and butter, and they like really like that. But that's my personal opinion. If you're like new to it, you don't need all the shades. Like if you find one that green that shifts red and you like it, and you find 7 more that are green shift red from other brands, you only probably need one of them, unless you are like someone who is creating content with them and showing comparisons. It's hard to navigate that feeling, like, because there are people who do that. There are people who do that, and like that's their whole thing, is that they find the nuances in every single thing, and that's why they own them all, to show you. But like that's also a resource more than it is like an aspiration. I find having a lot of single eyeshadows pretty overwhelming. And I also am not like the swatch queen. And this is like, I'm not complaining. I appreciate when people ask me to compare two things for them. If I have them, I'm more than happy to do it. But it also, like, sometimes people will be like, what's that like compared to this thing that I have never tried, nor do I have interest in trying? And it's like, well, I don't know. You're gonna have to find someone who has both of those things. I feel like I like this, but I feel like I like abrasion more. That's the problem, is when you start looking at them, you're like, well, that is pretty. Of course it is. I wouldn't have bought an ugly thing. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm in the game of. Yeah, so Sunbeam is definitely reading more blue on my eyes. And while of course abrasion's not the same thing, but it is a sheer. I like abrasion more, and I think that Sunbeam will find more time in the sun with somebody else. Like I just don't think that it needs to be for me. Like it doesn't have to be for me. So next up is Corrosion, which is like a green with a gold shift to it. I don't know if it might be a glitter multi-chrome. It is a glitter multi-chrome. It is like that perfect, like with the, like, you're probably seeing, like, I hope I have the look posted here, like that's what it looked like, and that's the color story that I like. Those colors are really what I like, and I'm sure I'm gonna find this 17 million times over, but I think Corrosion deserves to stay because it's what I like. Now, I am not going to just disregard anything that isn't green or gold or whatever. Like, I do want to keep some variation, but I want it to be more special. Like, the reason Sunbeam is going to get declared over maybe another pink that we find in the future is because I like the other one better. And I was like, while there might not be the exact same thing, it's like, I want the more interesting ones to stick around. And I want the ones that are really beautiful, but not for me to go. The next one I did was Blood Moon from Terra Moons. Now, this one doesn't get a lot of play in my collection, but I honestly think it is the most beautiful multi-chrome I own. It's just like this blackened red that shifts like a blackened purple. It's so beautiful. It's so hard to capture the beauty of this on camera. Here, I'll try to show you, like, but like, it's so hard to capture, but like, do you see that? And I just feel like when we talk about black and multi-chromes, they're just like never this deliciously deep. See how it's red? And then when I turn it, it's like that teal. So while this doesn't have that texture that I was saying that I love so much earlier, it's a special, unique color that I just don't think I'm gonna find anywhere else, and I really like it, and I'm hoping to pull it out a lot during spooky season. So this one's gonna stick around. Next up is Weld. Weld is one of my favorite shades. It's my favorite shade. It might be my favorite shade from Clionadh. It has a beautiful texture to it, but I think technically this is part of the regular collection. I don't think it's a glitter multi-chrome. And it goes from like green to pink, like this beautiful, and there's a lot of beautiful texture in it. So like Weld is a mainstay. It's one of the few Clionadh shades that I know off the top of my head where I go, absolutely, I know that I love Weld. I actually don't know where my Weld is. I think I pulled it out for my video with Kackie and then I put it back in with my regular stuff instead of keeping it aside. I really love Weld. It's one of the ones that if someone stole my whole Clionadh collection, it would be one of the ones that I would actually buy to replace. Some of these, even though I'm keeping them, I probably wouldn't buy to replace, like if someone stole my whole makeup collection, but Weld absolutely would be one of them. So next up is Glazed, which I think is one of their other clear multi-chromes. And so this also is a little bit of that ballet pink, but it kind of has the purple to it. And just from like looking at it in the stills, it's so much more interesting than I felt like Sunbeam was. It just is much more pretty. It's much more textured. And it's like, I always look for like soft lilacs in my collection because I really like them. And I just feel like that's something that I want to make more of an effort to wear. So next up is Crown Glass. It's a beautiful blue. I'm so attracted to like beautiful blues, like spiritually, but in reality I'm like not gonna wear a lot of blues. It almost just looks kind of like a regular old teal, and I paired it with a bunch of orange on my eyes whenever I did this look, but honestly it doesn't seem like anything special on my eye. Whenever I do the photos for these, I try really hard to catch all the things, but it just kind of reads as that teal. Now in real life, like the flip is like a beautiful blue. Do you see that? And there's like also some purple. I looked at it on my face and I said, I don't know that that's something that feels so special. And it's like, I definitely have other, you know, sparkly teals that I really like, and that might be in a palettes or elsewhere. I just don't think that I need that one. I don't think I'm gonna miss it, but now that I don't have it. So foiling was next, and it is just, I think it's supposed to be a multi-chrome. It's a beautiful like iridescent gold. And I think if I would have looked at this in its pan right now and asked myself whether or not that this is something that I would want to keep, I would probably say, I don't need that, or it doesn't spark joy, but it kind of does. Like looking at it in the photos, it looks really good. It's really pretty and textured and kind of gives. I have so many golds in my collection, so I'm sure I'll stumble across some other golds that I'll want to compare this to, but I want to use them on my eyes first and then compare them, as opposed to like swatch them on my arm and try to figure them out that way, which is like the whole reason I'm doing this single spotlight project, is so that I can reflect on them and compare them in a practical sense where like it's on my eyelids. I think foiling is here to stay for now. Also, I really liked the picture that I took with it with the finger in the mouth. It's very sensual and luscious. Next up is Kiln, which goes from like this magenta into this orange. And unlike the first shade, Sandblast, I think this one really captures like what I want my multi-chromes to be, because I feel like you can see the pink on my eye, you can see the orange on my eye, and those two colors together are really kind of confusing, I think, to have like that magenta flip. I do think it's really pretty and unique. Like I saw it, unlike the blue one, which I saw on my eyes and I thought, okay, I don't think I need that. The reaction of me seeing the pictures and also watching the short just now made me go, oh yeah, that I'm very into. I really like that. So I'm going to hold on to that one. The next one I have is Translucency. I'm scrolling through the pictures right now. I'm looking at the pictures, you know, really taking it in. It sounds pretty good. But I'm also thinking back to the one that I talked about earlier, the purple one I talked about earlier. And I'm like, are they very similar? Like, do they serve a similar purpose? So they're both on my finger. So one's a little more blue and one is a little more purple. I don't quite know. I will review the footage next to each other when I'm editing. I'll like put both of the pictures up for myself. Editing Tom piping in here. So after reviewing both of them next to each other, Translucency is much more pink and Glazed is much more purple. And since I did get rid of that other pink shade, I feel comfortable keeping Translucency. And I really like the texture of Translucency. So I'm going to keep it around. Gloaming is next, and this is one of their iridescent glitters. This is right up my alley, and I probably have 7 other things like it, but this is so pretty. I would never get rid of it because I find this kind of thing very useful. If I apply it with less pressure and I apply it more like a topper, I can use it as a topper, but you can also get full opacity and it goes from like this mint to this baby pink. Shut up. Shut up. I also did the Hypnotizing Pop Shot from Charlotte Tilbury as a single spotlight. I really like that shade. I'm not gonna bust it out. I know that I like it, and it's kind of like canonical that I really like it. But yeah, I also did a single spotlight for that. So I don't, in case anyone is following along on my Instagram and looking at them in real time, just I'm skipping that one. But it is really pretty, and I really like it. So next up, I spotlighted Majesty, which is like this beautiful yellow orange. And while I think that the look that I'm looking at, is really pretty. I think it's a really gorgeous look. It doesn't make me feel, it's not sparking the joy. I just feel like I don't lean into like orange eyeshadow too much, but I honestly always, every time I do, I feel like I should do it more. I don't know, I think I'm okay to parting with it. And like, I have other oranges in my collection that it'll be fine. Like, it'll be fine. Because while it is really pretty, I don't know that it's so unique as far as like orange goes. And I think I have other vibrant orange Clionadh shades. So I'm going to pass that along. So I just got to Terra Borealis from Terra Moons Cosmetics, and it reminds me a lot of Abrasion from Clionadh, and I instantly, looking at it, I like Terra Moons. I like Terra Borealis so much more. So I think it's okay for me to go back and declutter Abrasion. I don't think they're exactly the same as far as shifts go. I think they like are described as similar, but like in the close-up shots, they look so much better and so much juicier than the Clionadh one does. And that I'm much more interested in. So I'm going to hold on to Terra Borealis. I then also did Moontide. I don't think there's only one Terra Moons shade that I haven't spotlighted yet because I don't like it. So I might just get rid of that one before I get to it. But Moontide is actually very, very gorgeous and sparkly and shiny and amazing and gorgeous. And it's a blue. And I don't really always feel that way about blues, but it is really gorgeous and stunning, so I'm going to hold on to that one because just like, I mean, look at the look I did. I've done a couple of my Earthborn eyeshadows from Shine by SD and Seeking Shifts. I'll show you some pictures. This one's Nacre. It's not going anywhere, but I love all of them. I use them all quite a bit interchangeably, so those aren't going to go anywhere. I have a feeling that some of you are going to have strong feelings about me decluttering some Clionadh singles because Clionadh is not an incredibly accessible brand to everyone. It's kind of expensive to invest in them. It's expensive to ship from Canada if you live in the US, and there's a lot of patience involved. They're like this coveted thing that sometimes feel like pretty hard to get a hold of. Let me remind you that whenever you spend your money on something, or if you're trying to build your makeup collection, just because it's something that I have that you might want, there's also things that you probably have gotten rid of that other people would want. I'm sure that my thumbnail and my title, like everything that I've, got you here with, was probably pretty dramatic. But I hope that throughout the course of this video, me deciding to get rid of things just because it's like they're not the best thing for me really shows you that it's like it's okay to let go of things. And I think that's kind of been a theme of the content that I've been doing relatively recently. Like made my own custom Pat McGrath palette by depotting some of my Pat McGrath motherships and making my own mothership. People had strong feelings about that, and I think Clionadh kind of falls into a similar category. It's not as precious because it's just like one pan of eyeshadow versus like $125, but like I'm getting rid of 5 eyeshadows right now, and I don't, they're all vary in price, but like that's gonna be anywhere between $60 and $100 US that I am decluttering just by 5 eyeshadows. However, I would love someone else to get really good use out of them and like play with those and love them. And while I am certainly enjoying my singles right now more than I ever have by doing this project, again, it's all kind of coming full circle. That's like why all these things are happening. It's like there are a lot of things that I think I still have to work through as far as letting go in my makeup collection, because I've spent money and time and invested money and time to build it to the size that it is. But I also don't want my makeup collection to be enormous. Yes, I am someone who buys things for review, and I also get things in PR, and I do review new stuff occasionally. I don't keep all of that. The good stuff stays. The stuff that I feel meh or less about gets to find a new home. And I do try to like find places for these things to go, so they're not just sitting in my room languishing. I offer them to my friends first, and then I have some online friends I might offer them to. That wraps it up for me today. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found some catharsis. I hope this reflection and declutter helped you. Man, so much decluttering. I hope that this has helped you maybe look at some of your singles and go, okay, I don't love that 100%. Maybe someone else could love that 100%, or maybe I need to work it into my rotation to love it more than I currently do. Those are all things that you can do. So I hope that you take the steps to do them. Anyway, make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already. Make sure you like this video and leave a comment down below. I don't know, is anyone else in this like this vibe of just like really, and again, I'm not trying to have the most curated collection, but like really curating and just feeling like anytime, that's what I want. Anytime I pick something up in my makeup collection, I will want to use it. Now, of course, obviously your taste varies from day to day, but like I want to go in and be like, ugh, yes, today I would like to use this, because I feel like my collection still, I sometimes will pull something out and go, ugh, I don't want to use that. And instead of thinking about it right then and there in the moment and decluttering, I just like put it back, and then it just continues to languish. And I don't want that for my makeup. I want it to be used, because ultimately my feelings about makeup is that it's designed to be used. And some of you might be like, of course it is, right? Of course. And I think I want to do, a commentary video on this, and it will strictly just be like an opinion-based working through feelings with you about attachment to makeup through various routes. Anyway, that's it from me. Remember to follow. Oh, I'm nominated for Best YouTube Account in Best of Pittsburgh, and I've been linking in all of my description boxes. It'll be linked down in the pinned comment or the description box. Check either one of those places. Make sure you vote for me. Some people, I think you can vote every day. I've been voting every day because it has started letting me vote every day. So if you could do that, that'd be really cool. If you don't, if you just vote once, that's awesome, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, remember to follow your haute, and you will find me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Friend.